Okay, good morning. And surprise, it's Tuesday and it's me. So it's kind of a crazy week before Maui. And so I just switched places with Lisa. She'll be with you or whoever she brings on Thursday. So this is kind of fun to be on Tuesday. And today we're gonna have this. I feel like this is totally different. And I there are parts of me that kind of are geeky with like economics and business and I don't know if that's my accounting background. So this may seem like it's a little all over the place, but just stay with me, stay tuned, and then like in the end, I kind of try and draw it all into Plexus. So I was listening to an Eric Worre podcast, and he had a gentleman by the name of Roland Frazier on. And the title of the podcast, which kind of drew me in, was Adapt or Die. It's like, and I was like, okay, I'm in. I'm in. And so Roland Frazier, Eric Worre described him as an entrepreneurial marketing innovator. He also is an investor, he's a business strategist, he's not a network marketer. So that's why this is just a little bit different. Um, and he says that really, in the end, what he wants to do is find the shortest path to what we all want. And Eric Worre is, oh, what is that, money? And he's like, no, you know what? It's not necessarily money, but money is just a vehicle to get what we really want, which is, of course, we go back to it again, time. Time, and we all want time, and the ability to feel fulfilled. Okay. We talk a lot about purpose. And with money, then you can do what you want to do. Okay. So, with who you want to do it with, and all those things, right? Options, freedom, basically, is what I felt like he was saying. And um, so instead of, he's saying we can do all those things, what we want with life on our terms, not working for somebody else. Okay. I was like, yeah, because we've all been taught 9 to 5 jobs, all that. But I'm telling you, network marketing, the more and more I hear and listen and read and learn and gain knowledge, like this is exactly where we want to be. But the other thing is, like, not everybody can see that. We always say we're not like everybody else. Not everybody else can see that. And something else that I had heard on another podcast that I'm still chewing over, I'm thinking, well, maybe I can do another Power 30 on that. She was just like, you can't teach desire. I was like, oh, like you want those people. Oh, I know you can do it. I know. She's like, you can't teach it. And I was like, ooh. So it's interesting. This is a total sidebar. It's interesting because like I had no desire to do this when I started, but yet, I loved the products. I was willing to take them, and then I could then see. So maybe I didn't start with that desire, but then I had that desire to continue on. So I don't know. That'll be something else. Anyway, okay, so that Roland was talking with Eric Worre, just kind of about, they were discussing back and forth. I was like, God, I would love to be in this room, but that's me. I'm a dork at heart, you guys. But they were just talking about business in general, and they were just talking about like world economics perspective. Like it's a weird time that we're living in. You've got high interest rates. You do have high inflation. Everything costs so much more. It's not the normal supply and demand, but he's like, eventually it's got to go back to that. Like that is the baseline. And he was talking about like everything costs 3 times as much in 2018. You can say inflation's 8% or whatever you want, but it's higher. And so it's just not that normalcy. And but yet there are still like high demands. Like people are still spending money, even though they say everything costs so much. And Eric Worre gave the greatest example. He's like, listen to this. He goes, my son, an adult son, right? My son, was complaining about everything costing so much. He says, and then here he is calling Uber Eats to get his food delivered to him. So let's take something that's already expensive and make it more expensive because I want it delivered to me. He's like, so like that's what's going on. It's just like it is a weird economic time, but like I'm here for it because we fit in really well. Because eventually prices have to stop. Eventually, people will say, no, I'm not paying that to certain things. But the flip side of that, when I think about Plexus, is that I'm still willing to pay those prices because I have the income. I always, I say people do Plexus for different reasons, and you guys have heard me say this before. Like I work Plexus for the cheese. I like to go out and buy the cheese that I want, even though it costs $8 for a stupid block. Now, at some point, I might not do that. Right now, I do and I can. And that is the weirdness of the supply and demand. Okay. So, but he goes back to during the pandemic, people created really bad habits. Like, come on, like we all did, right? Like it might even be like unhealthy eating, but as far as like business, like work ethic kind of went down because you're working at home and you can do whatever you want and you can get away with stuff and you can hide, right? He's like laziness went up, entitlement went up, patience goes down, attention spans go down. Like it's just like so interesting. So that's who we're working with right now. Like again, we're different. So but people love to work from home because they pretend that they're working, but a lot of times they're not. Now, I think there's another part to that that he didn't talk about is that I think that from a business perspective, people are more efficient than businesses allow them to be. I think that you can get, and honestly, I'm just going to take Phil as an example, okay? Because he works from home, and I thought of him for this whole thing, and I was like, oh my gosh. Because he's not hiding at home, but guess what? He can do his work in like a quarter of the time and do it well and save the business thousands of dollars, millions, I'm sorry, millions and billions of dollars, right? But he's like, I don't need 8 hours in a day to do it. So you've got those people, but you have the other people who just really are pretending to work. But the problem is that I think that people aren't being challenged in corporate America. I think they actually, I give them more credit. I think they actually are better and more efficient, but corporate America doesn't really reward them for that. So they get lazy and they get done with, I don't know. That's a whole thing too. But anyway, that's what I said. I'm going to be all over the place, but so interesting to just think about these concepts. And so but what they were talking about is that creative people really still need to work together. And I kind of thought about us. Like he's a marketing guy, so you have to remember everything that he talks about is from a marketing perspective. And he buys businesses and does things like that. But he says, I don't believe that they can. He goes, they really need to be in a room together. We always say we need to be together. We need our community. We need to be in person because I actually think we are creative. Okay. So, and what has happened also is that like AI has come in and changed some things and it's made some things better and automation has done the same thing. So we have all of that going on. But if we can adapt and pivot, which I'll talk about in just a minute, like, we can excel, right? So let's see, what else? So automation has come in and made some things more efficient. And then there are some people, because of that, have gotten laid off. Okay. So we have, I don't know, I feel like we have a bunch of people in the workforce who aren't actually working, who think that they're lazy, and they may be, right? But I actually think they need to be challenged and find a purpose. So that's good for us, right? We got a lot of people out there who, if we can show them the value of what we do and that they can bring purpose and value to others, oh my gosh, like that's dynamite. So that was just another thought. Okay, so, and here's the other thing with corporate America is that, again, people maybe are hiding in their job or hiding at home or whatever, but I think people are getting tired and bored of doing that, again, because there's no purpose in that. They're not feeling valued. And to do all that for 3% raises or $1 or $2, like that is just, I would never be doing that. Like, I don't know about you guys. So anyway, throwing all those things into the mix, right? All right. And a lot of times people are, so, and just weave this in here too. So a lot of people are let go from corporate America because now, like, they want people, you're expected to bring something to the table, right? You can't just hide. And if you didn't bring it, well, why are you here? We can take that same concept and bring people into it and give them excitement and enthusiasm and energy to bring things to the table, right? So let's think about Plexus. And, the cream rises to the top, and that's what we're looking for. Okay. So that, and I could be stepping on toes here, so I'm kind of dancing around a little bit. Okay. Because when you have that concept of, if you don't bring something to the table, what do we need you for? We have people in our business who maybe brought something at one point, but aren't at this point. Okay. Or here's the thing, maybe it's actually something on you as a leader and they need to be challenged. I'll throw that in there too. Okay. So, but this whole expecting people to bring something to the table, right? Like what value, but we think about this anyway, what value are you going to bring to our team? It teaches us to work smarter, not harder, and you work with those top 20% to really get 80% of your business going, not working with 80% dragging people along to really only move forward 20%. Okay. So just a thought. All right. So what that tells me though, too, about people who are out there that we want to bring on is that because I can't, my husband always says, you're like the eternal optimist, and he's the eternal pessimist. So like, I almost like, yeah, I see, like, we can do this. And then, he's like, no. So, people need this business, but they also need us to show them the simple systems that we have. And that can enhance our life, right? That enhances our team's life, excitement, energy, right? And then the systems then enhance their life and their business growth. And then they get to live life on their terms. So they're looking for systems. They're looking for us to tell them what to do. Let's just say that. I'm just going to say it. And we don't necessarily want to tell people what to do, but let's show them what to do and follow the John Maxwell concept of I do, we do, you do. And then they're running with it. I think we don't give people enough to do, right? And that's just, I think maybe you have people on your team who are hiding and we need to draw them out, or maybe they're hiding and they just need to find something else to do. But I think that there are plenty of people out there who really want to work, but they just need that direction. And one of the things that I really liked that made me think about last night's Zoom for Community Connect and how we're all focusing on the cruise, right? But really that grows our business. It's very recruiting focused, okay, which is not my specialty. Now, Alita would probably yell at me if she was on here and she would say, quit saying that, okay? And that is true. I have shifted it to, I'm not a quantity recruiter, I'm a quality recruiter. I recruit good quality and then I can teach them the leadership. But I mean, literally in 8 years, I've never brought 13 people on in a month, okay? So that's where I'm coming from. And I'm like, and even if you added 2 months together, no. However, I'm a game for this, okay? Like I'm still on it, okay? So I'm like, I'm not letting that deter me. But let's think now we've got this reset 30 that we're a group that we're going to have running a challenge in October, and we're prepping for it now. Okay. And that is a great way to draw people in and show them a system. We have an entire toolbox that we're coming out with that tells you everything. I mean, literally everything. But once they learn that, they're like, oh, this is what I can do here. This is what I can do there. And you make them do things, even sometimes when they're not ready. So like last week, I put Nicole on the spot and I was like, would you share this thing from last night? Last night, literally, you guys, less than, I mean, 20 minutes. And I don't think she saw it until 5 minutes before. And she's like, I didn't even really listen to the whole thing. I messaged Angela and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't read to the bottom of the notes for like welcome to Plexus. And I'm like, I'm supposed to bring a new silver on. And I said, you're it. You're it, sister. I said, so tell your story. And she's like, I hope I did what you wanted. And this is the thing. She is always willing at the drop of a dime to go live. And I love it, whether it's on a Zoom or whatever. So like, that's what we need to do to pull people out. They need a purpose. And we're going to give it to them here with Plexus. All right. Let's see what else here. Yeah, really, he was talking about people need skin in the game, and that's what we have to let go of control. We really need to let the old fly and jump and grow your wings on the way down. Sometimes we have to give people the opportunity to do that, and we need to do it sooner than later. I mean, I think Angela's been here since July 30th, okay? And I've already put her on the spot 3 times and she's done it. So I love that. And really it's a matter of getting people out of their comfort zone. That's what makes you grow anyway. And then it builds somebody's confidence, and then they're confident to do the next thing. And then that builds the business. And then before you know it, they're stepping out and they're like, hey, I was thinking about doing this messenger event, and you didn't even say anything to them, and they're doing it. And you're like, yeah, run with it. I'll cheer you on, And in the bigger picture, it's not necessarily when you ask yourself a question, how can I XYZ? It really is, who can help me with XYZ? Okay, so sometimes we have to ask the question who and not how. It's a totally different concept in business. And that's how you find people's strength, and then together, like we're doing under the Wellness Co umbrella, how we've all come together as diamond and jewel leaders, it's that concept. And we are thriving. We are thriving. Like it's gone way better than we ever thought it would. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we have 10 minutes left. Okay, so one of the other things that he talked about, because he's good at growing networks, and we all want to grow our network, right? Now, he talked about some stuff that we wouldn't do, like getting equity in companies, but I thought about that from so and it tied back into some Keith Callahan training that we've done about, how can we build our networks and business. And it works really well because here's the thing, you have to think about, and you don't always have to do this, but think about like, who is your ideal customer? Okay, like, have you ever thought about that? Have you ever written down their profile? Like, what do they do? What do they say? How do they act? What do they do on a daily basis? What are their life activities? What do they not like? Um, how do they act? Where do they go? Do they have a family? Like, I don't know, just all these things. And so he calls that an ICP, an ideal customer profile. Right? So who is your ideal customer? Well, who in your ideal customer has a network that includes these people, or who has a network that includes your ideal customer profile? Okay, so you got to think bigger. Like, so, and I'm going to tell you what I think of, and that's who you want to get on board. And that's what Keith Callahan did with his business. Like for years, like his ideal customer profile, he went after the yoga community. Okay. And so he went to the leaders in the yoga community so that that would give him credibility with all the other people under there. In the end, the yoga owners didn't really do anything with the business, but he connected with all the other people in there, the other people, like the people who run the classes and all of that. He connected with them and they built out from there. So you have to get into that network, go big. And those people may not be who ends up building, but it is the people under there, because again, you're looking at your ideal customer profile. So you want to talk to them and you want to, those are people who have like common characteristics, like we kind of talked about that ideal profile, and you want to draw them in, and you want to figure out like what networking groups are they part of, what Facebook groups do they run or are they part of, and you want to integrate with them, you want to network with them. It's kind of like business development in a way, because what they've already got like an economic sector, but you want to introduce another stream of income that works well in that. So there are a couple things that I think about for me. You want, because what you're doing is you want to help those people monetize kind of what they already do, and in another way, like in another stream of income. So I think about the exercise community. So that really is my ideal customer profile. But what I need to start doing, okay, is talking with people at higher levels. And it may not necessarily be, so sometimes it's the owner of a gym. I don't know a bunch of gyms, I know one, but I need to start networking there. And honestly, this is like total conviction. Are you ready for this? Because we're always real with you guys. I didn't even tell Alita this yet. But so I wanted to network a little bit more, but I also wanted to change up my routine. So I was always in the weight room, and I'll network some in there, right? But I have a new perspective that I'll share too, okay? Just remind me if I don't tell you. So I'm doing these classes and they're amazing. And so and again, I talk with them, I network with them, I make friends. I'm, friends on Facebook. I was never good at that. I'm adding them as friends, all those things. And the instructor for the one class that kicks my butt, I was telling her I was going to be away. This is what you do. I'm going to Maui. It's a trip that I earned through my business. What's your business? Huh, funny you should ask. Well, Plexus. Have you ever heard of Plexus? No, I haven't. I said, well, there are natural supplements that focus on gut health, and I love it. And I just a little bit more. She goes, oh my gosh. my son just understands gut health, and he knows the benefit. Well, he didn't not necessarily understand gut health, but she's like, he understands the benefit of probiotic. And I do, like, I know I have gut health problems, she says. And she says, this is what she says to me. This is where the conviction comes in. She's like, have you ever, like, do you ever like set up tables or like talk to people here at the gym? And like, everybody needs to know this, Cheryl. And I was like, shit. I was like, yeah, I thought about it, but haven't done it. She goes, oh yeah, when you come back, like, and I'll even see what her thoughts are. Like, what would someone like her want to see or whatever? And here's the truth of it. Gosh, you guys are getting it all. I've already asked about setting up a table, and they said that I can, as long as I don't exchange money. I'm like, well, no worries. We do everything online. And so I just need to figure out how to do it. And like, that's my new goal for this. Okay. Like, this is what I'm doing. So I was just like, wow, this podcast really kind of tied it right around to what I want to do, what we want to do. And then this was my thought about the ideal customer profile. I have all these people at the gym who are already working hard on their health. What they need is a tool to help them accelerate what they're already doing. Okay, it took me 8 years to figure this out. You got like, so we are always thinking, we're always learning, we're always taking the knowledge. Okay, so I'm still learning. So like, that's my new big picture. So anyway, I hope that you guys found this helpful. Like, I know it was kind of all over the place and a bit about economics, but I feel like it really pertains to us in Plexus. And I don't know, I'm just super excited. So let's get to earning the cruise and think about your ideal customer profile, who you're going to go after, how you can do that, how you can network with them and help them grow another stream of income in something that they're already doing. So there you have it. I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you soon.